All right. Hey guys, welcome back to English with Bill. This is episode 2. 2. Yeah, that's better, right? That's 4, right? Or 22. This is episode 2. And the first episode was an introduction to what this channel will be like as a whole. But today's episode, I'm going to be talking about me, you know, the guy that's running the whole show. So, I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction about who I am, what I do, where I'm from, and what I like, and maybe give you some experiences about my life. So, let's begin. Okay, so my name is Bill, as you all probably know from the title of this channel, right? Um, I'm 25 years old and I come from America. I was born in Virginia in 1997. My birthday is March 1st, 1997. That door does not look too American, does it? No. No, actually, if you didn't know already, I'm living in Japan now. I moved here about a year ago, end of October 2021. And I've been teaching English at a high school for the last, I would say, about 13 months or so. And I'm having a great time. I've had so many experiences here, and I've been learning the language slowly. And I'm sure many of you, watching me, you're probably learning English too. So I can give you some tips that I've used to learn Japanese that you can use for learning English in the future. But that won't be about today's episode, that'll be in the future. So, when I was in college, actually, when I was a kid, we'll start from then. When I was a kid, the biggest goal I had in my life was I want to become a teacher. You know, ever since I was a child, I've always felt calm, safe, and at home when I'm inside of a school. And after high school, that kind of goes away. There's no reason for you to be at a high school or at a middle school or at an elementary school once you've finished it, unless you become a teacher. So that was one of the biggest things I realized back when I was younger about why I wanted to become a teacher. But that's not the only thing. Something that I've really enjoyed doing and seeing is helping people, my students, or just people in general, grow. There's that moment when you teach people and you see that light bulb finally go off, right? It like the ding, and they start making this connection to something that they didn't understand before, but now they're starting to understand it. And you're watching this like bridge, like the bridge that was a little crumbly at first. You're watching them slowly start to walk over it and reach this land where they understand something, which is so cool. My biggest joy in life is helping people. So if I can help people through my using my voice that people say is really clear for some reason, um, if I can help people by using my voice to give them an opportunity to listen to English, listen to natural English, and practice their listening abilities, practice their writing abilities if they want to write anything in the comments. I use an app called HelloTalk. I go live there and I bring people up on the stage with me and we talk together. If I can use what I was gifted, this voice, to help people learn the language that will get them so far in life. English is something that people, when they know it, it's going to do wonders for them in the future, right? The world runs on English. So if you're here, you're trying to learn English, or you're just listening to this to pass the time, that's awesome. And I'm really happy that you're here, and I'm really happy that you're doing your best to learn this language. So after I finished high school, I went on to college. I went to Virginia Tech, Virginia Polytechnical Institute and State University. The first plan was I wanted to become a physics teacher. So I did a 4-year program there and I got my bachelor's in physics. But to become a teacher in America, I know, strange. I'm saying teacher in America, but I'm here in Japan, right? To become a teacher in America, you have to get a master's degree, right? So you need to get a master's degree to be able to teach. So I did 2 more years of school and I got a graduate master's degree in education. But now you're probably wondering, okay, Bill, if you wanted to become a physics teacher in America, what are you doing in Japan teaching English? And that's a great question. The path that led me to Japan is a very strange one. When I graduated high school in 2015, I went on a trip with my teacher and some students from my school. And we also met up with another group of people from Las Vegas. Together, we went to Japan and we spent about 10 days. It was a wonderful trip. We went to Tokyo, we went to Kyoto, Osaka, Nara. We were only in Osaka a little bit, so I always thought, oh man, I want to go to Osaka again. I want to go see and experience and explore it. And now I've been to Osaka so many times, but that's a story for another time. So, I went here 7 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic trip. The food was amazing, the people were kind, the nature, the temples, the shrines, everything. And the biggest part, this is something we don't really have in America that's as common as Japan, and it's this train system that can basically take you anywhere you want to go. In America, it's way more common to have a car to drive everywhere because everything is at least 15 or 20 minutes away if you're not living in a city. If you're living in a city, yeah, life's a little bit more convenient, but it's also more expensive, so you really gotta gauge your choices here. Anyway, I went here 7 years ago and I loved it. And then my dream after that was to come back. I wasn't sure if my dream at that point was to live here or just, have an extended stay here, come visit again, something like that. But when in 2020, the end of 2020, my friend saw this application called the JET program. And so we applied for it and we were having all of these plans to come to Japan together and, live together, teach English together. It would be great. But the issue is that I ended up getting in and he didn't get in. And he's still in America right now. I'm actually going to see him next week when I go visit for about 10 days. He didn't get in, but he's been trying to get in since then, and I hope he can get in this year. But that's what led me here. It was a plan to come teach English with my friend, and I came here, and now my whole life I would say probably my whole life has changed. It's been great, though. I love it here. A couple things that I like, maybe things that you can relate with, maybe things you don't know too much about. I love to read. Fantasy is such an interesting genre for me because I love that it allows me to escape. You read a book and you just kind of get absorbed into this world that the book offers. And that ties into another one of my biggest hobbies, which is playing games. I know games are like, everyone's like, oh, games are for kids, but I think games can be played at all ages, all stages, at all points of life. I love to play games that involve taking on the role of a character and playing through a story through their eyes. We call it role-playing games. Some recent ones that I've been playing are God of War Ragnarok. It's the sequel to God of War 2018. It's about God of War and his son that have to stop Odin. They're in a Norse world, but he has his son with him. That's the biggest difference between these two games and then the first three. He has a son now, and he's trying to be a good dad, but he always has to go back into his old ways sometimes just because of all of the struggles and things that appear before him. Uh yeah, I loved that game. It was great. The games I'm working on right now are Pokemon Violet and the new game that came out 4 days ago. Four. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. That game is a remake of a PlayStation Portable game from a long time ago, but I think it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games ever. And you can hear in the title, right? Final Fantasy. Fantasy. So you can already tell that that's going to be something I like, right? So Crisis Core follows Zack Fair, and it is talking about his story and what he's doing in the events leading up to the critically acclaimed game Final Fantasy VII. But I really recommend playing all of these games that I've mentioned. God of War. Pokemon had some controversy around it regarding glitches and everything, but overall I think it's a good experience. And Crisis Core, love it. I'm probably going to be playing it later today, later this weekend. I'm so excited. I think that'll be it for my introduction. That was kind of long. I hope that you understood everything. If there's anything that was confusing to you, please drop that in the comments below. And now I have a request for you guys watching this. You don't have to give as much information as I gave, but something I want to see in the comments is your own introduction. Does that make sense? I want you to follow this format that I've created. It's going to have stuff like, your name, why you're here learning English. I want to know what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and give me one interesting fact about yourself. If I had to give one about myself, I didn't do that, huh? So, an interesting fact about myself that I can actually dislocate my shoulder at will. Can you guys see this? Do you see that? Like right here, there's the bone, and then I pop. So that's kind of gross. Maybe don't tell people about that about me. If you talk about me, be like, oh, this is really cool English guy Bill, but he can pop his arm and it's kind of weird. Don't tell them that. Let them experience it for themselves, right? All right, guys. I don't want to keep you too long. I want to keep these videos probably under 10 minutes in the future. Thank you guys so much. Remember, if you liked it, please subscribe. Please drop a like. And please give me a comment about your introduction. I would love to learn more about each and every one of you, sincerely. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.